In the oldest part of Lincoln, between the towering spires of the cathedral and the weathered stone of the Norman castle, stands the White Hart Hotel, a landmark that has witnessed more than 6 centuries of English history. Its walls have seen kings and soldiers, merchants and travellers, lovers and liars. And though the world beyond its doors has changed beyond recognition, the old building still stands, proud and unshaken, carrying its name like a crown, the White Hart. If you're enjoying my content and want to help me make even better episodes, you can now support me on Buy Me a Coffee. Every bit helps me upgrade my gear, spend more time researching, and keep bringing the stories you love. Just head over to buymeacoffee.com/ghost tales. It's quick, easy, and really makes a difference. I've also put a link in the description. Thanks for keeping this going. The name itself is steeped in royal and mythical meaning. The White Hart, hart being an old word for a mature stag, was the personal badge of King Richard II, who reigned from 1377 to 1399. He is believed to have inherited the emblem from his mother, Joan, the fair maid of Kent, whose family arms featured a similar symbol. Some say the king also chose it as a play on his own name, Rich Hart. In the famous Wilton diptych, now housed in London's National Gallery, Richard II is shown wearing a golden white heart brooch on his chest. Even the angels in the painting are adorned with the same badge, a mark of purity, strength, and divine right. To Richard, the white stag was not just an emblem of lineage, but a creature of mystery, a sacred messenger from another world. In English folklore, the White Hart is a powerful omen, said to be the favourite of Herne the Hunter, the spectral guardian of Windsor Forest. It represents the boundary between the human and the supernatural, the creature that appears only to those who are destined to witness something beyond mortal understanding. To see it, the old tales warn, is to be changed forever. Over the centuries, countless inns and taverns across England took the name the White Hart, a nod to this royal and mythical heritage. Even today, it remains one of the 5 most common pub names in the country, a ghost of Richard II's legacy, still lingering on signposts and swinging tavern boards from Devon to Durham. The name has inspired more than just inns. In the mid-20th century, science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke titled a collection of stories, Tales from the White Hart, imagining a pub where storytellers and dreamers gathered to share strange accounts of the impossible. His fictional White Hart was based on a real London meeting place for the city's science fiction community. But perhaps, unknowingly, he touched on something older. For centuries, places bearing that name have been associated with not just drink and conversation, but with legends, omens, and hauntings. The White Hart Hotel in Lincoln carries all that weight of history and more. The story begins in 1387, when the first inn was built to commemorate a visit from King Richard II himself. The surrounding city was already ancient then. Lincoln Castle, built by William the Conqueror in 1068, and Lincoln Cathedral, begun just 4 years later in 1072, had stood for centuries before the White Hart's foundations were laid. From the Roman occupation, when Lincoln, then Lindum Colonia, was one of Britain's most important settlements, through medieval rule, civil wars and world wars, this corner of Bailgate has remained a living record of English life. The inn became a coaching house, then an elegant Georgian hotel, gradually expanding to include neighbouring buildings until it became the grand structure that now dominates the street. During World War I, it hosted officers and engineers connected to the design of the world's first tanks. In World War II, pilots from the Battle of Britain and members of the 617 Squadron, the Dam Busters, were known to gather here, their laughter echoing in the same rooms where the wars still remember the sound of hooves, harnesses and coach wheels. Today, the White Hart stands as one of the region's most exclusive hotels, boasting 49 luxurious rooms, fine dining and an elegant orangery that once served as the old coaching yard. Plans for a new vitality pool and spa and a sky lounge roof terrace promise to blend the old with the new, a continuation of the hotel's long tradition of transformation. But even as it looks to the future, the White Hart can never quite leave its past behind. Beneath its polished wood and chandeliers, beneath the cobbles of Bailgate itself, the building remembers. Every shadow, every whisper of wind through a half-open door carries something of what came before. And as many guests have learned, some quite unwillingly, the White Hart's history is not entirely at rest. Night falls differently over the White Hart Hotel. When the street outside quiets and the glow from the cathedral fades into the mist, the building seems to breathe on its own, a slow, ancient rhythm that stirs the dust of centuries. It was during one such night that the laughter first came. The corridor outside room 27 was dimly lit, the carpet thick and faded with age. Somewhere near the staircase came the sound of giggling, light and breathless, like children playing a secret game. The footsteps followed, quick and darting, racing up and down the hall, then stopping abruptly outside a door. The guests inside sat up, startled. There were no families booked in a part of the hotel, yet the laughter persisted, echoing, overlapping, moving as if unseen figures were chasing each other through the gloom. And then, just as it suddenly began, it stopped. The next morning, when the guests complained, the receptionist looked uneasy. There were no children staying in the hotel that night, she said. In fact, there were no occupied rooms on that entire corridor. From that night on, neither guest walked those halls alone. The White Hart has always been rich with ghost stories, and many who visit claim that its past still walks its corridors. In the orangery, once the coaching yard, a tall man wrapped in a dark cloak has been seen lingering by the archway. His face is never visible. He holds his arm or cloak to hide it. Legend says he was a highwayman, burned horribly by a coachman during a failed robbery just outside the city. The horses galloped to safety, delivering the terrified passengers to the White Hart, while the highwayman was left to die on the road. His ghost remains, seen sometimes in mirrors, sometimes in the corner of the eye, and once captured in a photograph, visible only from the chest down, as though his ruined face refused to show itself even in death. Up on the stairwell in the northeast corner of the hotel, another spirit lingers, a young girl, dressed in an old apron and a mop cap. They call her the Mop Cap Girl. Some say she was murdered long ago by the inn's rat catcher. Those who see her describe her as crouching in a corner, wide-eyed and trembling, as if forever waiting for the moment her life was taken. And then there is the former owner, still wandering the rooms above Bailgate, wringing his hands, muttering the same broken plea. Help me find my ginger jar. Room 14, they say, carries an unshakable sadness. A suicide decades ago has left the air heavy and still. Staff avoid it when they can, saying it feels wrong, even when the lights are on. Across the road, in the staff accommodation, the atmosphere is lighter. A young soldier in Napoleonic uniform has been seen standing silently on the top floor. A lady in a crinoline gown has appeared to the child of a former manager, who once said the lady tucked him into bed. On another night, when a log rolled from the fireplace and began to smoulder on the carpet, the family was awoken by an unexplained bang, just in time to prevent a fire. Perhaps, they said, the lady was watching over them. Beneath the hotel, in the sealed tunnels that once connected the inn to the cathedral, witnesses have reported seeing a man dressed like a 17th century clergyman walking briskly through the dark. He vanishes through a stone wall, continuing his journey along a passage that no longer exists. And then there is the cat. A small tabby, long dead but still loyal, is seen padding quietly along the second floor corridor. It moves with purpose, tail raised, before fading through a closed door. Guests have felt it brush against their legs in the dark, or heard the faint sound of purring beside them, only to find nothing there. Sometimes in the morning, an indentation remains on the bedspread, the unmistakable mark of a sleeping animal. The White Hart is a place of elegance and comfort by day, but when the light fades, the walls whisper their secrets. The past stirs and shadows walk again. Some who stay here leave with fond memories of a beautiful old hotel. Others leave with something else. The sense that they were watched, or perhaps even followed, by something unseen. And somewhere in the stillness of the night, a child's laughter echoes once more down the empty corridor.